Welcome to Open Mind Industries podcast, The Mind Unleashed. Sit back, relax, and unleash your mind. Checking everything. Wow. Hey guys, welcome to The Mind Unleashed, episode 39 and a half. I did episode 39, but it counts, but I wanted to do a live version and a GoPro version and a podcast version. Why not? Never really done all that at once. Hopefully the GoPro stays alive, the battery might do what it does, but for those tuning in live, hey, welcome. Welcome to The Mind Unleashed. This will be episode 39 and a half. As we always do, for those who do listen to the podcast, let's give a few shout outs to our supporters. The first one is going to be Lyft, the ride-sharing app. Use our code TMUP for, I believe, $20 off when you ride with Lyft. It's your first time ride. $20 off, I believe. I might be wrong. They might have switched it back to $5. It's really weird. Also, please check out Weiss Productions. Weiss Productions is a locally tenor photography company who does weddings, special occasions, corporate events. If you're trying to get a photography done, stuff like that, check him out. He's offering you guys, I believe, 20% off when you book your next wedding package with him. Restrictions do apply. Check him out at weissproductions.com. Links will be down below. Also, please check out Cass. Cass is Cinematic Aerial Services, Daniel Weisenberg's new company. What he does is he does drone shooting, professional photography. Amazing work, behind the scenes stuff. If you're trying to get a house on the market or you're trying to just get some beautiful photoshopping done for your portfolios, your marketing material, stuff like that, check him out. He is offering, if you're trying to get a property done with drone shooting and stuff like that, I believe it's $179 per property. Check him out. Use our code OMI. Also, check out Angie Connors. Angie Connors was our real estate agent who helped us find our new home. Hopefully when there's pretty soon. Check her out. Links will be down below. Also, I want to give a shout out to my attorney, who was amazing for our trademark. If you guys are trying to get your business off the ground or protect your brand, check out Strawman Law. Strawman Law is a branding attorney. He does trademarks, copyright infringement, stuff like that. Amazing dude. Hooked us up, took care of us, was a really honest to goodness attorney. Didn't bullshit around, really took care of us. So check out Strawman Law. Links will be down below. Okay, like I said, welcome to episode 39 and a half. Now, the reason why I'm saying episode 39 and a half, well, what did I do? Well, I reposted another old episode. It was our first episode a few months ago. I got a little lazy and didn't have time to do a podcast. Well, it happens. What's been going on this week? Well, 3D printing. A lot of freaking 3D printing. For Evil Monkey Studios, for those who don't know who he is, Alan Lincoln over at Evil Monkey Studios does his own props, stuff like that, for cosplay and stuff like that. He was at MegaCon this year. Got to check out his booth. If you want to check out our Instagram page, he's on there. And I did some work for him. So he's finally got another printer. He's got a few printers at the house. He does laser cutting, anything you pretty much can imagine he is a part of. He is actually responsible for a Halo wedding he did a couple years ago for a friend of his, and it was amazing. The Orlando Sentinel actually took some photos of that. It was really cool. So check out his work on Instagram. I believe it's going to be link404, I believe, or evilmonkeystudios.com. Check him out. I do want to show you some of the stuff that I've been printing new, and I found a really decent filament. So this is going to be a very geeky episode about 3D printing and what the hell I've been doing. Haven't got the Robo tuned up just yet. Got a new LCD board, which I ended up getting from Printed Solid, which I'm glad I did, because that's the board that they've been recommending for the Robo. And so Robo was like, hey, same thing, use what we can recommend. Expensive? Yeah, about $70. I mean, I ended up going with the Rep. I can show you that board right now. Rep. Everything's falling over. This guy here, which I ended up 3D printing a case out of PLA, and it worked really well. However, there's some things going on inside of it that I wasn't really liking. The knob and everything does work. Clicks. And the one thing I really love about having a board like this is the SD card reader, because you're not depending on your computer, your motherboard, stuff like that. The same thing with the new board that I got. It was plug and play. I didn't have to, tell Arduino, what the hell to do. I just say, hey man, like it just went in. I just hit a button and it was good to go. No adjustment. It just linked up to the Merlin. No problems at all. And I realized I was like, man, I really wanted to get the Robo back up and running because the Robo was like my baby. It's my second printer that I bought when I started getting into 3D printing, and I love it. It's a freaking phenomenal printer, and it prints really good. I mean, it's ABS, PLA, any kind of carbon fiber, TPU, TPE, filaments, stuff like that. Run really well. But the new LCD board was from Printed Solid, and it was the XXL thing. I've tried to printing out a few cases for it. They did come out good, and unfortunately, like, I did ABS because I'm like, I love ABS, I love using Hatchbox, but unfortunately, like, slowing that down, getting it to do on the CR10 minis, the CR10 minis are like, hey, yeah, we don't really know what we're doing. I mean, it printed really good, but you could see it was pulling apart, so the heat on the bed needed to be about around 70C to 80C. The CR10 can do it. The problem is I don't have an enclosure to keep all that heat in, and I would definitely put it on the Robo, which I might do. That would be my next choice. But what I did find throughout the week when I was printing those, and a few people on Instagram were checking that stuff out, is I found a new filament because Alan was like, hey man, you know, what are you using now? What kind of filaments are you using? My go-to is Hatchbox. I really like Hatchbox, but I was like, you know what? I was like, what kind of filament are you using when you for your projects? Well, he said, well, usually use PLA because we're going to take molds of the, you know, the prints that you're going to do for me. I said, all right, yeah, sure. Sent me over a few bucks to get, you know, material and stuff like that. Shot there on Amazon like I usually do to get my filaments and stuff like that I'm going to be using. So I pondered upon a pretty cheap filament that Ultimaker, it's compatible with Ultimaker, MakerBot, pretty much all your main printers. Shit, why can't I remember that one damn printer's name? God darn it. Yeah, Ultimaker. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. So yeah, I like looked around. I think each filament was about $17 a piece. I think ABS is about $19-18. That's pretty good. I mean, Hatchbox runs about per spool about 2.2 pounds per spool. Runs about anywhere from 26 to $30. And I'm like, I want to go with Hatchbox, so I can only get one roll of filament. So with this new filament that I found, it's called Solutech. Yeah, Solutech. Printed claim on the box. It prints really smooth, really clean, and they weren't bullshitting. I mean, it's PLA, and I'm going to show you the print in just a second. If I can get my hand underneath one of the prints here. And this is one of the masks that I had to do. This is a Deadpool mask. And it printed effing phenomenally. Look at it. Oh my god. How good that printed. Now, it does have some boogers up on the top there, as you guys can see, but the one thing I loved printing about this bad boy and loved using it was, you know, it just printed so cleanly. This printed at about 221C on the extruder, if you guys can see that. I know you guys can. So you see I had to play around with the material a little bit. But man, it's about 30% infill, printed out really, really, really well. Should take a very clean mold, you know. It's going to get bondoed, obviously, so it can be more smoother, and then, you know, you can get it molded. But this filament was no joke. I mean, this shocked the hell out of me for the price, and, you know, it hasn't disappointed yet, which is shocking. I mean, I'm not really a big PLA fan, but this shit, wow. Clean, you know, and everybody was like, whoa, man, like, what the hell filament is that? And I said, a company called Solutech. I said, I've never really heard of them. They've been around. The problem with, like, doing 3D printing and shit, you know, you go around to all these filaments, stuff like that. You read all the reviews, and you're like, okay, which one do I really want to test out? You know, how much per roll? Is it recyclable? What are they going to do with it? You know, stuff like that. I'm not a really big PLA fan, man, but the CR10, this was printed at about 0.2 layer height, and yeah, you can see the lines and stuff like that, but, you know, I can't really complain. I mean, from far distance, it looks phenomenal. Not even far distance, like, even close up, it looks great. You can see a little the layer height, but, yeah, I would be, you know, I'd wear the mask. And then I did Red X, which I didn't know the name of the mask. I had the file name and stuff like that, Red X. My buddy Oliver Brunson checked that out, and he was like, dude, that's Red X from Teen Titans, and he started freaking the hell out, and he goes, oh my god, I can't believe you found it. Well, the model maker that made these did a great job. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the model. I was just given the STL files from Alan, so I really don't know who made these, but I do want to, whoever the maker is, congrats, you did a good job. I hope to find out who you are so I can give you at least credit for that, because, man, these are fucking amazing, and you did a great job. They're based off the same pretty much model experience for what I could see he was doing, but they really came out really good, about 30% infill. This one's a little more heavier, I think, just in the nose area, but yeah, put it on, pretty freaking cool. The Deadpool one I like a lot, and I'll show you another print that I did. Yeah. So, these are really cool. These are actually going to be worn by people at cons, stuff like that, because Alan's going to make some mold of those. But, really, really cool. Solotech, I mean, so right now I ended up buying another dang spool of it because I ended up doing another private project that had come up that I needed to get done immediately, and I was like, okay, well, this shit really prints really good. But let me show you the last print that I did for Alan. Like I said, it's been a bit fucking 3D printing week for me. It's been really wild. And, let me see if I can get that out of there. There we go. My office is just a mess. This is the mask helmet. This is what the masks have to go on. And this print took about 3 days, about 72, 73 hours. And yeah, everybody was freaking out about this, man. Like, I was literally at work the other day at my day job, and people were like stoked about it. I was like, I didn't build it, I didn't design it. My friends were like, no, we don't even care that you didn't do that, but holy hell, it looks amazing. So what you would do here, what I didn't know, a couple guys on Instagram hit me up and they're like, did you know you sized it wrong? I was like, no, it's exact size how the model maker wanted it. The CR10 Mini prints 11.8 inches high, which is perfect. So what you did is, instead of turning it like that, you turn it like that and then let it print up. The best thing that I can say, and I've been getting my friends Alan and Trent Ward over at Ward Effects into more in 3D printing. Alan got me really into 3D printing a year ago, 2 years ago, to get our company started. But in general, because it's easy to prototype, it's easy to get stuff done yourself, and then send files out or whatever you have to do to a manufacturer or stuff like that. So you can figure out the bugs and then send your master copy to them and say, hey, this is what I want done, yada yada yada. I want it mold injected, or I want it, done properly. That's why everybody, like I said about a couple years ago, I was like, man, 3D printing is really freaking taking off. It's just cool to have shit like this, so makers and builders can, get shit that they need done. But it's good for me in general, because I'm making products and trying to get things developed and prototyping and stuff like that. But yeah, this took a lot. But Simplified 3D, highly, 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 highly can't recommend that fucking slicer enough. I've used Cura, and I like Cura. Most people are like, it's free. Well, it's free. That's phenomenal. Cura is not knocking it, not slamming it aside. It is a great slicer for your models and stuff like that. But man, when it comes down to like precision and just reliability and like taking your time, it's Simplified 3D all the fucking way. The reason why I like Simplified 3D, it's just easy to code your stuff, your G-code. It's easy to make adjustments on the fly. And the best part about Simplified 3D is the filament, not the filament, but the support material that you're able to go in here and you're able to take out support material. So this needed, all this needed to be in, they wanted support material all inside as the automatic thing did, and I was like, oh hell no. And when I showed Alan the time and how much it would cost to get this done, and this isn't a cheap print, by the way, so if it was under my time, if I was getting paid to get this done, this wasn't cheap. But that's just me being me. But you gotta get paid somehow, and it takes a lot of work. Plus I had to keep an eye on the print and stuff like that, and it printed. I had a camera on it 24 hours, for a good couple days, watching it while I was at work, making sure there was no lift, and thank God, because I used brimming a lot. But what I did, what Simplified is, I went inside and I made sure that, I was watching it carefully, because what Simplified does, it runs a simulation. So you're able to see the exact model broken down layer by layer through their automated system. So you're able to rewind and see where, the tool head's going to be going, what heights it's going to be doing, and stuff like that. And if you guys can see in here, I don't know if you guys can, you can see how rough it is in there, but that's just because I didn't add a lot of support material, which we didn't need. I was like, there's no way in hell we're going to spend. This is supposed to be a 82-hour print. and I got it all the way down to a 0.2 layer height, all the way down to about a 3-day print. So that wasn't too bad, you know. About 2.5, 3 days to get this done. But everybody was freaking out and said I did a really good job on it. And again, I didn't model make this at all. The model maker who did this did a great job. Did a wonderful job. I mean, I'm glad right here because I wanted support here, and I was like, hell no. So when you're like getting into stuff like this, you want to make sure that you're just understanding the model. Cura, I mean, helps you with it, but doesn't help you with it. Simplified 3D helps you with like calculations on how much it's going to cost you, how much filament you're going to be using, yada yada yada. And definitely the most important part is your simulation and support material, because support material takes a long fucking time in the print, and you don't want that. And that's the one thing that could take half your print time away. And the good thing is you can make your own processes to say, hey, well, I want this to print this way, I want that to print this way, and it will do it. I mean, I'm glad I went in. So I had to go in for about 20 minutes and take out the material I needed. I did a full support material, and then I took out what we didn't need, and it printed so much better. And I'm glad I kind of had some practice doing a lot of it, and it's rough in some areas, but it does need to be just a quick sand-a-roo, and then we're good to go. But this printed phenomenally well. And then I have a project. I'm not allowed to talk about it just yet. Soon, hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be able to show you guys a documentary that I shot, time-lapse stuff like that, about how I did it, and can't wait to show you, if I can show you. It's up to the person I did it for, so we'll see. Cool. But yeah, man, loving this stuff, love the new filament that I found. And I'm glad I kind of took a risk. I was like, you know what, how much money did he give me to do this? So it was about $38 that I had to get material. So I was like, okay, do I buy a spool of this? How many rolls is it going to take? Luckily, both masks and this, given the masks are at about 30% with rectangular infill, and this is at about 30% with rectangular. It seemed to be working just fine. But everybody on Instagram, nobody really hated on me, they loved me. But the one guy told me, he's like, hey, I was like, hey, the helmet's not going to fit my dome, and it doesn't go over your head. It actually, this gets cut out here, the back part here gets cut out here, and magnets get put in, and then you take this part, and your head just slides in. So, one guy wrote me back, he said, hey, man, did you know that you sized it wrong? I said, no, I didn't size it wrong, I just put it in the slicer, and Simplified 3D, and it sized it correctly. Before I made the biggest print, I'm starting this print, because like I said, 3-day print, I made sure, Alan was ready for it, and he was. So he said, no, man, go ahead and do it. He goes, it's perfectly, if that's what it's calling for, it's calling for. It would definitely fit my head. I mean, I'm definitely going to add some padding and stuff like that. But this is going to get molded, so, it should work out. But, like I said, I'm getting my friends more and less into the mindset of kind of not trusting me, but going, okay, well, we're going to do use Simplified 3D. So Alan got a copy, and so did Trent, my buddy Trent Ward ended up getting a copy. He's been using Cura, but he's now getting into Simplified 3D more, because he wants to know how much, to charge friends if he's doing a model or whatever. And Simplified, thank God. I mean, it's worth $150 that you're going to spend for it for the license. You could put it on 2 computers. You can buy more licensing and stuff like that. But he seems to be liking it a lot. I just like when people kind of take my advice a little bit, because I don't want you to spend hours and not get the correct print that you're going to get, because these take a long time. And I know my buddy Trent is doing one. He was a little concerned. He's like, it's my first 72-hour print, never 3D printed before, what do you recommend? I said, slow it down, do this, because I've had prints, and I've seen many model makers bigger than myself really just pull their hair out, because even though these are plastic, and everybody's like, well, these are just plastic, well, people mold off of these. It's just something that a client would need to mold. Alan's going to be molding this, and you want to make sure it's done correctly. It just takes time. I usually start off with a smaller block, understand the settings first, and work with, but I can't kick enough for the slicer and the material. This is phenomenal freaking stuff. So I hit up Solotech, and they haven't hit me back yet, so I was like, they're like, if you hashtag us, we'll put you guys in a drawing for an SD card. That could be like a 16 gig SD card and like some files or something. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's been like a 3D printing week. Like I said, I've been working on some stuff like that. This is going to be a short episode because I've cheated because I put an old episode up for episode 39, so I was going to call this episode 39 and a half because I cheated. It wasn't a fresh episode for you guys. It was an old episode when I first started, doing the podcasting, and I really enjoy it. Still got to get a hold of a few friends that want to be on the podcast. I got one that's traveling around Ohio and stuff like that. He's been wanting to get on. And my buddy Maurice, we have to do Terminator our chat part 2. It's just that we've been real busy in getting our schedules together and stuff like that because he's all the way in the Netherlands. And I have another friend, Dakota Bowles, that will be on. It's going to be his first podcast. Everybody seems to be really nervous. They don't know what to talk about. You don't really need to talk about much. I mean, since I've been checking our analytics and stuff like that, I've had over like 2,000 downloads. That's, I think, 2,500 downloads. It's pretty insane. People are actually listening and talking and just enjoying it. And also, I am now part of a group on Facebook based out of Paris, France. They do products for the disabled. It's a kind of a pro bono service for designers, makers, stuff like that, who can share their time and wisdom on how to help make products for the disabled. I think the recent project just came up on the board that I thought was pretty cool, that I'm going to probably take my hand at in a little bit, is they're making a toothpaste dispenser for somebody with one hand, or a nub, so they can kind of nudge it with their wrist or something like that. And a few makers around the country, like Tokyo and stuff like that, have jumped on the project, and they said, "Hey, Jeff, when you can." I think it's like a 400 member. I saw it on Facebook, and I was like, "This seems pretty cool." Let me jump on it. I think I was part of the XYZ printing hub. And one of the makers was on there, and I saw it, and they're like, "Hey, you should jump in this." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not that qualified. I'm still learning how to do CAD modeling and stuff like that." But I'm learning some of that stuff and seeing some of the stuff they do. They're all based out of Paris, and everybody's based from Italy and Paris and Spain. It's pretty cool to, thank God, Facebook translate what they're saying, because I'm like, "Oh, what are they saying? I can't understand it." So it's kind of cool to talk to a few people, and they're saying, "Hey, when you can, if you have some advice or maybe a new filament we need to try it. If you guys can donate some of your time, donate it, so hopefully I'll be helping out with that maybe shortly. They're basically a huge group that says, "Hey man, donate your time where you can. We need help, all the help we can." Now I think it's based out of like 400 or 500 members, so I'm glad to be a part of that, and I'm glad that they let me join the club. They're like, "Hey, you got a printer and you're willing to help out and learn, that's what we're here for." So I think that's pretty cool. Also, do want to show you guys something cool that I just got that I've been really, really wanting for a while. I have got myself a new Wacom tablet. And for those who don't know what this is, and those who can't see the video podcast, it's going to be on YouTube also. This is a drawing tablet. I'm going to be learning how to do some sculpture that I've been dying to learn and stuff like that, because I'm more of a hands-on guy. I like to CAD model. I'm still learning CAD modeling. But I'm the kind of guy that likes to get off my mouse and kind of feel what the pen's actually doing. So this is a touch-sensitive pen that's going to be going on the tablet here. And I can actually sculpt inside ZBrush. I can actually make sculptures instead of having to feel what the mouse is doing. So this is going to be a little bit different for me, but I couldn't resist this. It's just time to kind of invest a little bit more into what you're doing, what you're loving. And this is all Bluetooth and stuff like that, so I can be on the go at work and still work on like making crutch tips and stuff like that. Because I still have to work on our coworker of mine, Jodel's cane, who I saw you guys also that was on Instagram. I have to readjust that. It's been really busy just trying to get to work and back and stuff like that, trying to kind of get it on the 3D printer. Unfortunately, I had some printer settings issues with the file, and my computer wiped out this week, so it's been kind of rough getting the computer back up and running. Thank God I'm a nerd, and I keep a lot of hard drives backups of what I've had, so I was able to really just get it up and running again. And I did lose a couple files, but I was able to recreate what I did for her. So I just got to reprint it and stuff like that. But this is going to make it a lot easier for me to get into the modeling. Because you're basically, I love clay sculpting. I've always done sculpting, but this, Trent and me were discussing about this because he wants to get a Wacom 2, and he's debating on getting one of the bigger ones. But this ran about, I want to say, I think about $199, and I got it from Amazon. I did a lot of research and getting a newer version and stuff like that. But I've been looking at them. They have a lot of the other different versions, the cheaper versions that you can get, you can learn and discover. But I said, you know what, man, it's time for me to kind of get out of my comfort zone and learn some digital stuff. But I love sculpting. It's kind of like I wanted something that I could easily draw something and create it with my hand. But there's a lot of tutorials and a lot of stuff like that. People are like, you got to get into it and you might love it. But it's trying to learn two different aspects and then turn everything into a 3D model. But I think this is going to be a big help for me to make textures and stuff like that into a digital model and then apply it onto a grip or a hand grip and stuff like that, because I'm not very technical on how to make textures. But John Alizé, my business partner, he's done a couple textures for the new grips that I'm using myself. But our biggest thing was like, okay, well, if we're going to do a grip, we want to make sure it has enough texture for your hands, your palms, stuff like that. The grip that I helped make for Joe Dell, which was very just simple, it was just simple, a plate and stuff like that, which I got a few behind me that were just test prototypes for. And the hardest thing there was just getting the, not actually just getting the size right, but I had to do now it's just that I can adjust the size. We've already tested it with her, and she loved it. It was getting the infill right, for the right cushion, how much material needed to be put inside. And come to find out, I had the old file, so I had to pop it into the computer the other day, and I couldn't figure out what the hell I did on the infill, because it took about 4 to 5 prototypes, which seems like a waste of time material, but I took notes and stuff like that. So I figured out it was about 40% infill. Now it's just getting the printer to go, okay, we got to get to work again. The thing about these printers is that they're very hefty. Sometimes they'll print really, really well for a couple of days, but then they shake so much that the leveling screws you need to keep readjusting every so often, and that was my issue. So hopefully I can get on it tomorrow night or later this week. I hope they get her cane back to her. She has her other one, but she can't wait to get the cane back because she really likes that grip, and she's like, man, that grip that you put together, reason why I want you to redo it is we're planning on helping other people out down the road. I want you to make sure you're feeling comfortable with it. But it worked really well for it. It just wasn't connected to the bottom because it was just a quick print, and I didn't measure it correctly, which most designers don't do. They want to do a quick prototype and then they work on finishing it up correctly. And I talked to a lot of makers and model makers, guys working in the industry, and they told me the same thing, man. They're like, don't worry about get it to work, and then you proceed to fix it towards the end, and that's what they call prototyping. But I'm glad I got the infill just correct for her. She goes, man, and I told her she was famous on Instagram, which she actually is. She's on 2 company websites. Barb at 3D Print NY hooked her up and posted our thing on her website. And she runs a 3D filament company with a bigger company, and then NinjaFlex, who runs the filament, has brought her up on their website. So I'm going to be working on that a little bit more. I'm going to do a case study for NinjaFlex, and I got to get a hold of. Barb sent me the guy's phone number. Doesn't have his email, but I've not really been talking on phones because I'm like, hey, I'm so and so, and I'm a nobody still, who just does 3D printing and stuff like that to help people out. But I'm pretty sure the guy, she's like, no, call him up, leave him a voicemail. He would love to talk with you. Maybe you guys can. He would love to hear your case study for the product, because if it wasn't for NinjaFlex, I wouldn't have gotten into flexible filaments. I wrote them a note, and I want to thank. I know the 2 people that I think they left the company. I've emailed them, but they ran the R&D department. It was Jan Thompson and Arias Poppies. I think they both left. I hit up Arias a while back. I think about a few months ago. Nothing got back. So I don't know who took over. I know he took over for Jan. And Jan was like, listen, we know what you want to do with the hand grips. You want to do crutch tips also, so you can, on the go, so you can 3D print crutch tips for those in need also yourself. How's that working out? I was like, I haven't done it yet. Not sure how the material's really going to work for that, It's a whole new experience for people, No one's taking that into consideration for whether, stuff like that. But that is the next goal with the crutches. Now that the hand grips are kind of where we want them, now I just want to texture them up and make them correct. And it's working well for my coworker who has severe carpal tunnel. She's like sitting there talking to me, and she's like, I never thought using this cane. She had a heavier cane. She now has a Hurricane, which I have sitting on my desk next to me. It's a lot lighter. It's not aluminum, but it's a lot lighter for her to use. She didn't realize crunching her hand like this and holding a piece of cane and just picking her hand up would cause carpal tunnel throughout the wrist and stuff like that. Which I did mention into the new Facebook group that I was talking with. And I said, hey man, this is what I've been working on. What have you guys been working on? A lot of people that work in prosthetics and stuff like that. And a big shout out to Form 5. For those who don't know what Form 5 is, they're a pretty big company. They're a non-profit. Me and him, Ian and Aaron Westbrook, have been talking. I want to give a shout out to Judith. Judith hit me up with Aaron. She was on Facebook and saw a video that he was doing. He's based out of Ohio, New Albany, which is funny because I'm from Albany, New York, and I was like, wait, where is he from? But it's kind of weird that we're kind of Albany, New York, and Ohio, New Albany. What he does is he does prosthetics for hands, and him himself he was born with a half an eye. Like, so they had to amputate his hand and stuff like that. So what he does is he 3D prints prosthetics, which is pretty cool. And how he does it, he has a 3D filament recycler from Philibot, which are super, super expensive. I don't know how the hell he got them. I haven't really talked to him yet, but I hope to have him on the podcast and talk with him because he seems like a really cool cat. We've actually hit it up on Instagram. He was really, really sweet, and seems like a really cool guy. He does a lot of nonprofit and stuff like that. So if y'all want to donate to him, it's Form 5 Inc. It's going to be on our Facebook page. Also, I give a lot of love and support to his company because it gets him off the ground. Right now they're doing a plastic fundraiser, and what he does, Starbucks. If anybody has Starbucks lids or any kind of Dunkin' Donut lids and stuff like that, he takes those into the grinder, grinds them down into fine chiplets, and then makes that into 3D filament, which is pretty much all it is PLA, which is pretty much what you see on the desk here. The same damn thing. So what he does is, like, he goes to, you see all, like, if you have cottage cheese, containers, stuff like that, he can grind all that up and then turn that into 3D filament. It's basically PLA. So there's certain things he can do and certain things he can do. I haven't really talked about all that and stuff like that. There's a company that I've been talking to called ReadyTech, which has an all-in-one system, which is more affordable. What the system that Aaron has is about, I want to say about a good $6,000. They're not cheap because I looked them up in general. I think just the whole kit, I think the one thing was like $2,300, and then the grinder and stuff like that. But he ended up building some of his own grinders, and then I think he just has the extruder thing where they just pour the pellets in, and then it makes filament, which I would love to have because it would save a lot of filament and time. But you still have to go out and buy filament no matter what you do. So, but that cuts down on your waste and stuff like that. So, been working with him. He's been really cool. Definitely love to help him out. And then a friend of mine told me about how's the company? Hope for the Future, I think it is. Yeah, Hope for the Future. Enable the Future, sorry. I found out about them. They have a company based here in Orlando that does prosthetics. Somebody's probably helping them out. They're a pro bono kind of service for those who are in need of prosthetics. And I would love to take a crack at a prosthetic, and they have a lot of files. And, like, if you have time, we'll get with the client, and then you guys can help out working with the client, 3D printing it and stuff like that. Do I feel confident? Yeah, I mean, why not? If I fail, I fail. If it's a learning experience either way, but I feel confident in my learning how to do things and stuff like that. If I can do a mask, and know how to print it properly, I'm pretty sure I can do a prosthetic, no problem. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, the working for Giselle and helping her out with that thing, it's going to be fun getting that back together again. I know she can't wait to get that damn grip back because one of our makeup artist friends had to get a piece of foam and put it around her other cane that she has to use for the time being, and I'm trying to get it done as quick as possible. It's just been all working and then getting home and getting it set up on the printer, and wondering why it's not printing properly, because I want it done correctly. I don't want to just half-ass it. That's not how I work. If it's not up to my standards, it shouldn't be up to your standards. That's the one thing I told somebody. I was like, hey, the project's taking a little bit longer than it should. This is the reason why, and they understood completely. And it's not, I appreciate that you take your time. You don't rush shit out the door to hand it to somebody. You take your time and get it done. But that's pretty much what I've been up to for the week. I'm gonna call it. The GoPro just turned itself off because the battery died. But it was good talking to you guys. Hopefully I do more lives of these and get these online. And hopefully I get to wake them up and running and get to play with it a little bit. They have some drawing program that came with it. I guess if you ordered the tablet, they would give you 2 programs. I think if you ordered the kind of pro version, they would the medium version. This is like a small version. They would give you the 3 programs. So I got like the artist one and something else. I wish they would include ZBrush with it, but ZBrush is like $150 just for the basic, and then for the professional version with all the tools and techniques and stuff like that, that one runs about $8.99, and I'm like, ugh. So, but I definitely might try it out and see what I learn. There's no shame in learning something new and trying something out. But I'm really excited about this thing because I'm really I'm a hands-on kind of guy. So I'm like, this would be cool to have something in my hand and be able to sculpt, in digital and actually have some force feedback of what I'm doing. And then, because a mouse is cool, when you're doing CAD modeling and stuff like that, but you're just not getting that same feeling watching your wrist. This is actually like touch sensitive with the pen and stuff like that. So when you're sculpting in 3D, which I still haven't done yet, but everybody says it's a small learning curve, but take your time with it, and you'll understand it and learn it, and you should be good to go. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to sign off. I thank you so much for tuning in. I should be doing one of these on the 4th of July. Hopefully. There might be a podcast on the go, something I haven't done yet. But this is my second live podcast, and episode 39.5 in the books, episode 40, hopefully on July 4th or a little bit later on. Any questions, hit up openmindindustries.com. Hit us up at our Gmail account, openmindindustries@gmail.com. If you want any questions for the pod, let us know. If you want to join the pod, let us know. Like I said, I got a few friends that are finally getting under their skin, and they're like, what's a podcast? And I'm like, it just says sitting down and talking about anything. Oh, I'd like to do that. So I'm glad a few people have gotten on here and haven't been too nervous in doing it. I don't know what the hell they're nervous about. I'm the one who's got to come up with topics to talk about. Although it's kind of funny, looking at our analytics, I'm like, holy shit, how many people listen to the podcast? That's pretty insane. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a great Monday, under Tuesday almost. I got to go hit the gym real quick, and then I'm going to head to bed. Wishing you guys all the best. Have a happy 4th of July if I don't see you then. Be safe. Don't blow yourself up. And don't get too drunk either. Why not? But you might have to call in later on. Anyway, guys, keep an open mind. Have a great weekend. Or a week. God, I'm weird. Have a good one, guys. Keep an open mind.